hey man, just heard the new single you've uploaded on MySpace. And like, and then because we have an in, he'll be like, I know Ben. And he'll be like, all right, what, Ben, give you the number? Yeah, look, I think you've got something there, buddy. You've got some great bars. And then he'll push it and he'll be like, how about you just come round and maybe spit some bars for me? And I've got some wine, we'll have some lasagna. And he'll be like, okay, that's a bit weird, like, but. How you been?
Man, I'm not too bad, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah, not too bad, man.
Congrats on that. I just saw today, actually, Netflix
man.
fried chicken thing.
Yeah.
That's sick. Because you see me, So one of my favorite rappers of all time is Nas, right?
Okay.
We're that era, obviously, real MCs. You know what I mean? And a very underrated Nas and Busta Rhymes song is called Fried Chicken.
I know the track.
You know that track. And Nas has got one line in it where he goes, fried chicken, fly vixen, give me heart disease, but need you in my kitchen. You see, that's me, bro. I could give up every meat. Yeah. Like honestly, beef, lamb, whatever. Like, but fried chicken. And it has to do with being a working class boy from Hounslow, because it's not healthy. We grew up on it. And my missus goes mad at me, especially since I had the U. She's like, you have to look after yourself. You can't be eating KFC fried chicken. But it is my weakness, bro.
So that's the thing, when I done that doc, we filmed that last year. Last year summer, just before my daughter had come.
Right.
So going into it, I was like, I would never do it again, put it that way.
Really? What? So how long how long did you eat fried chicken for?
28 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah, bro.
I did that shit for free, man. I was like, Netflix paid you, bro. I do that shit for free. No, but that's mental. Wait. So what? How would you, without giving away too much for the doc, because obviously we want people to watch it.
Yeah.
But like, would it be a different type of fried chicken for, like, would you, like in the morning, what would you eat? Fried chicken, cornflakes, like what is?
Oh, no. So I'd literally wait for the chicken shop to be open at 10:30, 11 o'clock. I've never been to the chicken shop at that time.
Never. I didn't even know they opened that time.
Yeah. But like to go there at that time and wait for it to be open felt like a crackhead.
Yeah.
It's the only way I can describe it. I swear to you, bro. It was like.
But what would you have? What meal would you have?
I would just get probably 4 wings and chips.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 wings and chips. Or sometimes I change up the next day, 2 pieces of chicken or chicken burger.
Right.
But eating that food, you'll see it when it comes out.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. And always fried. You couldn't go for a cheeky little grilled.
No, it has to be fried. Has to be fried. Didn't go gym. No supplements. Couldn't work out.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. Couldn't work out. Do you know what's mad? You know, sometimes you do stuff, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm enjoying this thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever had this where you're by yourself and there's a thought and it says, what the fuck are we fucking doing here? The fuck is going on? That was me, bruv, on this journey, innit? Yeah.
But when you posted it, I was like, that's mad. But then I read your description and I thought, actually, this is important.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, it's my weakness. And it literally, I wanted to have some fried chicken today.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, actually, it's butters and this heat. No, but you know what I mean? Got the and I know and it's almost became my little dirty secret.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Sneaking a little KFC.
Yeah.
Sometimes my missus will see it on the ring. What did you order? No, just Pepe's grilled meal. And even now I try and justify.
Yeah.
You're having grilled chicken, but then you also got chips.
Yeah.
And you might have a side order of 3 fried wings.
A strawberry Mirinda.
A strawberry.
There, sugar in there.
Yeah. Oh my. But it is like, my missus says to me, she's like, you've worked so hard and you are living better. I have lost weight. I do try and look after myself, especially after the you want to be around, you know what I mean? Especially as being a bit of an older dad for modern stuff. Obviously, back in the day, our parents were like, my mum was 18 when she, you know what I mean? You think, okay, I'm 39, when I'm 60, my youth's going to be 20. It's like, I want to be okay and, be all right.
Of course, man.
So it's like, she said, but that kind of, those habits are actually, and she's from, we're both working class, originally. But she said that's somewhat of a trauma class thing. That would be the easiest option to do, to go get some fried chicken down the street. It's £2, it's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap and it's built with a lot of nostalgia to it.
Yeah.
So because you went there when you were younger, or your friends, or boss man. Do you know what I mean? You're like, what are you saying, boss? You're all right. There's a lot to unpack in the doc.
Bro, I was such a fat shit as well back in the day. I remember in my local kebab shop, they had a meal named after me. Asim Special. That's how fat I was,
Because you grew up in Hounslow, right?
Yeah.
Your Hounslow, born and bred.
Yeah,
you rep Hounslow
still.
still.
And if you go back there now, it's weird. I did a Google advert for them, actually. I kind of repaid them back after, but my meal is...
Were they the ones in COVID? where they were like trying to like, because I done one in
Maybe,
COVID.
yeah, it might have been, yeah.
Because I done one for my barber, and it was in Camberwell about doing Google reviews.
Yes.
So we done it in the barbershop.
It was the same campaign. It was the same campaign.
Yes.
But I remember I did that. And my meal was this grilled chicken sandwich, which was delicious, but chips. But here's the thing that makes me a true fatty. Doner meat on top of the chips. It's bangs though, bro. And their chili sauce. You know the Turkish man, you know, they make their own homemade thing.
Yeah.
But horrible, like terrible as well.
Do you know what's mad as you say that? Because like we used to like play football, and on a Saturday there was a fish and chip shop, and they used to have kebab meat. But like we'd have it on like, so you get the chips, and it's like you get it with the chips with the chili sauce.
Yeah.
But like I'm talking old school bag of chips with like the salt and vinegar.
Yeah.
And it was mad because I used to be like, Rob, we just done something really like, we just played sport, do you know what I mean? Like really healthy, just beat this team we've been running around, 15, 16-year-olds. And now we're just eating a bag of grease. Like,
but that was standard though back in the day. And I remember like, this is a weird one actually, speaking about your documentary. I remember I pitched a documentary that I was actually going to do. Like we started developing it and then it kind of didn't go anywhere. But I've always been fascinated by, like, look, us South Asian man, right? Like we've been here for a long time. You know, like, you know, a lot of immigrant groups, we've built ourselves up. You know, we're now second, third generation. You know, we're part of, we're in every pocket of culture, you know, from music, fashion, food, everything. The one thing I've always thought, which has always baffled me, why has there never been a South Asian Premier League star? And I mean, listen, I mean thoroughbred. Michael Chopra, mixed race brother. You know, no, the Bangladeshi brother. Like he had the black in him, which made him good. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, and this goes back to what we were talking about playing football with the lads in Hounslow. I grew up with ballers, bro. Asian ballers. Techie, strong, but they'd have zoots at half time or go doner kebab at full time, right? Man. And my documentary was going to be called The Great Brown Hope. And it was going to find out why it hasn't happened. Like, is it this systemic racism? Is it parents not pushing? Because that's true as well. A lot of parents go, you're going to be a footballer. Yeah. In an Asian household, they'll be like, you're dreaming. Because it doesn't exist. Yeah, man. We haven't seen it. So I wanted to, you know, explore that. And the title was from Jack Johnson, the old heavyweight boxer, the first ever black heavyweight boxer in the early 1900s. And all the white boxers in America refused to fight him. They drew the race line, it was called, because they knew he was so good and they couldn't have a black man being the world champion, because being the heavyweight world champion, what does that mean? That means you're basically the sickest player alive, isn't it? Like you're Tyson, the strongest man. So they drew the race line for years and years and years until someone decided to fight him, right? And they had an epic fight and Jack Johnson destroyed him, right? Then for, I can't remember how long, but for a long, long time, they tried to find a white fighter to beat him, to reclaim the white supremacy. Really? And it was called The Great White Hope. That's what they were looking for. There's an incredible book called Unforgivable Blackness, which is about Jack Johnson. There's a couple of movies been made about him as well. Incredible character. He used to drive sports cars back in the day, like in the late 1800s. And he'd exclusively date white women. And he used to get arrested for dating white women. Because it was considered as like human trafficking almost because of the racism. And he actually died in a car crash. But check this swag from him, yeah? He got stopped by feds, right? And he's speeding in his old school sports car. And he said, how much is the fine? And he paid it. And he went, how much is the fine, you know, to go on the way back? So he paid double because he's going to speed back. But he was incredible. So it was taken from that kind of, how do we find this person? But I genuinely want to know, why has there never been? Because think about it. If there was some Singh, Patel, Khan, British born in the Premier League, he would be a mega star. Yeah,
because there was like, it's interesting with like world economics and football at the moment with the World Cup. And people are like, oh, like two of the biggest like nations are not at this World Cup, China and India.
Right.
And everyone was like, how is that?
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? Not to say that China have not been in the World Cup before.
But they're not known for...
But I think it's so interesting of just like, you know, two nations who have the most people on
billions.
Earth, are not in...
You can't find one baller.
They're not in the biggest football competition of the world. Do you know what I mean? And it's, considering if you think of like Olympics is different because there's a sport in there for everyone when it's Olympics. But football feels like the every person's sport. Do you know what I mean? It's one of the biggest global sports that everybody watches. Do you know what I mean? That would have been dope though, man.
Yeah, I mean, but I've got a little brother he's 19 now, but ever since he was 12 or 13, he's always wanted to be a footballer. Like that was his and he's really good.
Yeah.
But you know what it's like at that level. I'm saying you know what it's like, like you're a footballer. But I'm saying
I know what you mean, though.
but you have to
bro,
be.
it's
Even 12 is old.
0.001%. Yeah.
12 is old, and he's had scouts team, and he just didn't really get that shot. And then even I was saying to him, look, bro, he's a really good looking boy as well, right? I know he's got good personality, very techie. I knew that. I said, listen, bro, why don't we? You can go into the other route, go into YouTube. Like, those guys, 5 guys, there's a lot of money in there.
Yeah, man.
I can help you out, whatever. And he went, nah, bro, I want to be a serious baller. I want to be a proper Premier League. And I was like, the documentary was going to be around, because he was young then, he was like 12 or whatever, was going to be focusing on him as well and his journey. You know what I mean? But then it goes to show you, man, like, he's 19 now and he didn't make it.
Yeah.
And actually, now he's somewhat accepted it. Now he's like working and, but it is a bit heartbreaking because, in our industry as well, like if you didn't do the things that you did, right, and you're still doing, and the things I didn't, people look at us and they go, oh, it's possible.
Yeah.
Like the Mandem did it. You know what I mean? They created something from nothing. They got on this show, that show, and man's got Netflix documentaries. You know what I mean? And little black boys will look at you and go, bro, Mo did it. We can do it.
Yeah,
Same
man.
thing with me. Little Asian boys, they're in our industry in terms of the arts now. There's nothing holding us back now. But football, why?
Yeah. It's definitely, I think what I've realized as I've got older, like, I think I didn't understand how hard it was to be a footballer. I just thought it was almost like there's a guy in the park who's going to basically, do you know what I mean? Come and scout you. That's it. You train. And then if you're good, you're going to probably make it and get into the first team. And it's until I meet some of these footballers and they tell you like, yeah, like I got scouted at 6 or 8 years old. And you see how hard it is, but also you see the people's stories who didn't make it.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, raw. And I think, what was really interesting? Like, I support Arsenal, right? You're a Newcastle fan, innit?
Yeah.
What I think is really interesting with like Eberechi's Eze's story is that his story is this story of rejection to then make it. And I think he had this really interesting story of like, oh, raw, you were so good. You turned out so good that you've made it back to the place that rejected you.
Yeah.
So I felt like everyone almost like, I just like this story and I kind of like him just for that.
Of course.
Yeah.
That tune, let it all work out.
Yeah. But
we
definitely it's, that would be a dope documentary though. There's still legs in it, I think.
You know what it is? It's rejection is so hard for us to face, but it's also essential. But I think, the football rejection, it hurts so deep because
it goes back
think
to
about it. What does
school.
every little boy want to be? A footballer, right? Or I don't know, boxer or rapper. But really, I think as a British boy, you grow up. Euro 96, that was your dream. You watch the Premier League and we live it. It's our culture. It's so, like, I remember I read this, I can't remember, it was an article or something, but it was about this Indian man who came to visit England for the weekend. And he was like, and he said that, it's not really a religious country. He said, but they do have these they're kind of like cathedrals. When they're called football stadiums and people go and worship there and that is their God. And that is the truth. Like, if you think about it, it's not really a Christian country, right? Like, I know officially it is, but the religion in this country is football. I watched England the other night. It's the first night I proper went out since baby, right? And I did the proper all night, rode home drunk on the line bike, 5 a.m. Like still like fucking hell. But man, I tell you what, and in recent times I felt like we've been very divided as a nation, and the flag especially, because I think that flag in the last few years has symbolized something that I don't recognize. You know what I mean? Like growing up, I'd proudly wave that flag. Where I'm from, I grew up with a lot of Asians, but a lot of white people as well. Down the road from where I live, there's a council estate, and there's a video actually of my Instagram, and it was on the news because they had St. George's flags up everywhere. Like, and I remember going there in the Euros. I went there in the Euros with my little brothers actually, and one of them had his hair dyed, Phil Foden, and all that. And we were there, and I saw this one geezer, and if you judged him by he was this white geezer, tats, gold teeth, and that, and he came out, he went, Chabuddy! And he went, fucking hell, mate, local boy. He had my book. I signed the book, surrounded by England flags. And I thought back then, that's what that meant then. Now, if you go to when you start seeing the flags, what does it mean?
I've been touring up and down the country.
You've seen it.
And sometimes you do get into a town and you're like, okay. And it's funny because like I've done shows where, before you even get to the show, you've seen it as soon as you get in. And you're like, oh, rah, like, and then it's until I'm on stage, I do have to address the elephant in the room. Right. Do you know what I mean? And be like, I didn't know if you guys wanted me here, after all those flags I seen.
Like, England aren't playing, are they?
But also realizing they're coming to see a black man as well. Do you know what I mean?
Let's hope Saka doesn't miss that pen.
Yeah, listen, but it's weird because everyone's sitting there laughing, but it's like, I do have to address the elephant in the room here in your town.
But that's the beautiful thing about comedy and football.
Yeah.
It brings us together. Like, you can go into a racist town, right? Of course, they're not all racist, but you feel the energy. You know what it's like. Yeah. And you can make some jokes about that. And they, whether they're laughing with you, at you, whatever it is, you're sharing a moment together. You're acknowledging the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I felt on Sunday night. I felt, for the first time in a long time, I felt a real unity in that pub, right? And there was all kinds of people in that pub. And I think the reason why is because of how, like, kind of up and down the match was. We actually went through something together. And it felt like, you know what, at that moment, I felt like it was Euro 96 again. I felt like it was 2018. You know what I mean? I felt like that unity that I haven't felt for a long time. And I hope this is the beginning of reclaiming the flag back. Yeah. Because I think the way it's been used is just heartbreaking, man. But
we did need a game. We needed a game. Well, to be fair, when this comes out, we might be out of competition. We might have won it. We might be world champions. We might be talking like, right, what are they talking about? But I think what's always interesting with ever England play, people who are not into football are into football. But what I do enjoy about this World Cup, it reminds me of the World Cup do you remember Japan?
Yeah.
Because we've got these games that are like times that you don't watch football.
Mental, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't mind watching a game at like 9 o'clock, 10, pushing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like midnight, it's almost a thing. Like on Monday morning, everyone was like, which game last night? Oh God, I fell asleep. But then what I woke up to, it was just filled with that. And it just, I seen a clip on the news where like kids got to watch in school and they didn't know the result. So all these little kids are like 9 years old and they're like, I don't know. Yeah, they're all screaming. It's like...
What was the World Cup when? I think it was South Africa because like, I was in school, but I remember we watched some games in school during that as well. And it had that, you know what it is? It's a shared moment as well. And we don't have many of them anymore because everything's online, so people watch things at different times. Like back in the day, it'd be like, I don't know, you'd watch Big Brother, and it will be like the mad thing. Jade Goody, Shilpa Shetty. Next day at work, everyone's at school, everyone's talking about. Now it's like people watch stuff. So actually,
who shot Phil and all that kind of stuff.
But now there's a disconnect because people are just doing their own on their own timeline.
Event TV just doesn't exist.
Yeah, but football, because you can't watch that's happening then.
Yeah, you want to watch it live as well. Yeah. Speaking of TV, like how you started in TV was quite interesting because you used to do that plays in school and stuff, right? Because you do like a Godfather play or something like this.
Basically, I mean,
that's wild, by the way.
Yeah,
at school.
No, you know what? I was never like an artsy kid. I was never a theatre kid or anything. I was always creative, but my creativity was seen as a problem. Like from my mom to my dad, they just thought I was fucking around, right? Even when I was rapping and or making albums, they thought he's wasting his time, right? And my drama, and I always say this, I did drama because I thought actually it would be a bit of a DOS. But actually, I've always been creative in terms of storytelling and characters or whatever, right? So my drama teacher, she, like some teachers, no matter what you do, you know that you can get away with murder and they're going to love you. They'll be like, oh, that's him. You'd be like, you're a bitch, miss. And they're like, oh, that's him. He's so cheeky. I had a couple of those. But this teacher was the opposite. If you breathe wrong, you're getting detention. She didn't like the cut of my jib. I think it's because I was a very carefree student. I walk in, I was stoned a lot of the time. I was probably a bit of a nightmare, right? Come in late, try and chat to girls, be the class clown or whatever. But actually, I was also really fun. And I was actually trying to be good at this in the class and come up with ideas. Anyway, what happened is that my mate, who looks quite like me, right? He was just some default fat Asian bro, basically. He looks just like me. He threw a rubber at Mrs. Head, right, at the teacher's head. She turned around and obviously she thought it was me because she hates me. And she went, Asim, come here now. Give me your... It acted like she'd been shot as well. Oh, give me your diary. This and that. Took me to the head teacher. And obviously I didn't snitch on my mate. I took it. And then she went, okay, I'm going to kick you. I'm kicking you out of the class. And I went, no, but miss, this is my GCSE. Like, this is probably the only GCSE I'm going to get. This in English. Please, like, give me a second chance. No. Okay, I'll tell you what. You have to earn your grade back. You come to class every day on time and you help the team. And if you do well, I might grade you. So I actually took that as serious. I needed that kick up the arse, right?
Yeah.
So I went there every day. I wrote my group's play. I directed it. I gave myself a really small part, and it was a rendition of The Godfather. It was called The Poppadom Father, right? And it was very funny, very silly, but like some really sweet moments in it as well. And it won the best play, right? We got an A. And then my group actually, then she said, I'm still not going to grade you. She went, your attitude's still wrong. My group wrote a letter to the teacher begging for her to grade me. And she still didn't grade me. So she gave me a U, right? So I left school with 1 GCSE, an English GCSE, because my English teacher was a G.
Me and you both, bruv.
But that's what I'm saying.
I only got an A still. That was it.
Yeah. So, so from an early stage, but what that actually did, and that's the power that teachers have. See, a bad teacher can actually knock your confidence, because after that, I didn't think about acting once. I didn't think about anything. I would always do creative stuff, but I thought in terms of acting, nah, it's not for me. Like, I'll go behind the scenes. I'm not going to act, right? Because that was a big, you really prove yourself for the whole year.
Yeah.
And you still get knocked back. And you're like, well, what's the point then? I'm not gonna try, On the flip side, my English teacher, Mr. Walsh, he's a G, still in touch with him.
Yeah.
He was like this cool Arsenal supporter, I remember. And he used to wear these shades that would go dark, like glasses, but like go dark. And we all thought he was a pothead. I was like, sir, you stoned. Yeah. And I remember, because I used to rap back in the day, right? And I remember I gave him my mixtape. And he'd always get quite frustrated with me, because he'd be like, you're messing around too much. He goes, but you've got potential. I've seen your stories. I've read your poems. You're a really good writer. So, and he heard my rap CD, and back then it was like, year 8, year 9. And I was rapping with American accent, like back in the day, I was like, and he was going, and he remember he laughed at it, and he goes, this is shit. He goes, but let me ask you a question, Asim. He goes, there's potential. He goes, why are you rapping in an American accent? And I went, because that's the music I listen to. And he was like, but you're from Hounslow. He goes, I've heard the way you lot speak. He goes, you should rap how you speak. Yeah. He goes, rap is just another word for speaking. Let me rap to you, And it just that small little thing, he taught me, be yourself, be confident. And he helped me so much, and he changed. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be writing and all this stuff. I wouldn't be here. So that's the power of a good teacher, and the power of a bad teacher is that bitch, right? Who obviously I'm over completely. I'm not bitter about it. But she knocked my confidence so much that I didn't start acting till 26, 27. Once we started People Just Nothing, and even that was I was kind of forced into it. I didn't really want to do it
because you guys had known each other before, right?
Yeah, we met in college.
Is it media studies, right?
Yeah,
you guys met
West Thames. Yeah.
Didn't you guys work on a phone? What was it called again? A phone
call center.
Call center. Yeah, Didn't you guys work at a call center together as well?
Yeah, we did.
So you is that where you kind of built a rapport in terms of like, right, like we kind of vibe with each other, work with each other?
Yeah, it all stems from music, because we were all potheads, right? And the call center job kind of came after we all knew each other. We all got each other the job there. I think Hugo had the job first, and then he got us the job, and then we all got fired one by one as well, because we would do stupid voices, and I remember Seeper used to do yo, what up? We were selling like Salmon and Trout magazine. And like, yo, what up, baby? This is Ghostface Killer. I'm calling from the Sam, just crazy shit. And then, but we all got fired because the calls were recorded, obviously. So they were But we all knew each other from college, man, and that kind of stuff happened from. Instead of us doing like what we were supposed to be doing, which was like making music and hip hop and all that stuff, we would fuck around and we would do skits for our albums, or pranking was a big one as well. Yeah, when pranking used to be a proper like, bruv, I've got this number. And the best pranks will be when you have an in. Yeah. When you're like, I've got some, so he won't just hang up. I know someone he knows. So that gets us in. And we used to just do that all the time and record all of them. Yeah. So I think that was the basis of that comedy connection.
What was like your go-to prank that like used to be like?
Well, I used to do very early version of Chabuddy, right?
Oh, really?
And yeah, it was for my skit for my album. My album was called Spleen Tapes, right? And spleen was like a term for a zoot. We used to say spark the spleen up. So what I would try to do is I would try and call up different places like QVC. And I remember we used to call up a few brothels as well. But I'd call them up as Chabuddy. And the kind of task was to try and get them to say spleen tapes. Right. And then loop that bit and then the song comes in. Okay. So I'd be like, all right, darling, tell me what lovely ladies you got for me today. And there'd be like some Polish woman like, yeah, we have Olga. She's 22, very, and then I'll be like, yeah, she very clean. Yeah, very clean. Take a shower. Yeah, she clean. She takes shower. And then I'll try and get in and I'll be like, yeah, does she do this, the spleen tape sexual position? Spleen tapes? And she goes, the what? Spleen tapes. Splinter? Yeah, she went, yeah, she do. So then that bit would be the skit. So that was kind of it. But I mean, Seeper was the king of the pranks. He would have so many different ones. We used to call up rappers.
Yeah.
And he'd play like a posh A&R. Hey man, just heard the new single you've uploaded on MySpace. And like, and then because we have an in, he'll be like, I know Ben. And he'd be like, all right, what, Ben, give you the number? Yeah, look, I think you've got something there, buddy. You've got some great bars. And then he'll push it and he'll be like, how about you just come round and maybe spit some bars for me? And I've got some wine, we'll have some lasagna. And he'll be like, okay, that's a bit weird, like, but what, so come to your yard now, like? It was hilarious, man. But yeah, you must have been a pranker as well. You must have had
because when we were younger, I used to do this girl's voice, innit? Okay. So like basically, like we'd call up a friend, and I'd be like, "Hello," and then like he'd ask me like, "Hello, who's this?" It's like, "You don't remember me now?" And he'd be like, "No." He'd be like, "I met you at Carnival, and you're just gonna start remembering me." And everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, what's your name again?" "My name's Shadika." "Oh my gosh, you're actually rude, you know." "No, I'm sorry, innit? Like, I'm sorry." And me and my friends would be busting up on the phone, man. That used to always, whenever I do that one, that voice.
Yeah.
Literally, like, the matter of like my friends, and I'd be like, "Bro, chill out, it's me, man." "You're a dickhead, man. Why are you doing that, man? You're a fucking idiot, man." Or if it's not that one, then you call up someone like, "Hey, brother, who's this?"
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"What do you mean, who's this?"
Yeah.
"Brother, you got my girl's number in your phone."
The classic.
"I don't care, bro."
Yeah.
"I'll tell you what, yeah. Link me now. Campbell Green."
The ones that bite are the best. Yeah. The ones that bite are the absolute best, man. Yeah, no.
Link me now, Campbell Green. So when you're doing when you started doing the stuff with like, did you ever know what it was gonna be, or was it just like vibing with your friends? Because I had a bunch of friends, and this is when you just left school, and they were doing music, and I'd be around them. I didn't do any music. But again, I liked music. They always liked my opinions and stuff. But we were all just at a time where we were just like, we all lived at our mum's house and stuff. We were always on job seekers allowance.
Yeah. And
you don't have any, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not locked into paying rent or anything. Do you know what I mean? You're just like, pay my phone bill, pay my rent, just trying to work out.
Simple times.
Was that the same time for you as well?
You know what? We were a little bit later, I would say. Like I definitely was, we were definitely broke. That's for sure. It was frustrating though, because I went to uni, right? And even though I did so badly at school, as soon as I started doing media studies and I started enjoying what I was doing, and it was actually creative, and we were making films and music videos, and I was like, "Wow, this is sick!" Like, so what? Like, I can just make a short film and that will be my grade, and I have to write about it. I'd love that.
Yeah.
So then I started doing well, and then obviously I met the boys, and then you and actually college was so different as well, because I remember the first time I went to college, and I remember one of my teachers was an Iranian woman. I loved her. She was so lovely to me. Like, proper believed in me. I remember the first day I was 16, and I was like, "Is it all right if I?" Because in school you have to hide your smoking, whatever. And she smoked a cigarette, and she was like, "Yeah." She goes, "You're 16." She goes, "You're in college." And then I remember I was like not showing up for a few lessons. She had a chat with me. She was like, "Listen," she goes, "this isn't school." She was like, "If you don't want to come into class, like, no one's going to chase you." She was like, "You're 16 now. You're older.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in education." She was like, "So if you want to fuck it up, you can fuck it up. No one's going to chase you. Like in school, they'll send letters and do that because it's the law." So, and then I was like, "Bro, okay, so there's a sense of responsibility there." But it's like, but what am I doing? Because I'm actually really enjoying this. So I'm self-sabotaging. It was a real pivotal moment for me. And then I got really good grades in college, and I went on to do film studies at uni. And then after that, and I got my degree, I was there like 21, 22 with a degree. I had a camera. I bought I was telling your manager, I bought a Canon 5D Mark II back in the day, which like now these are the standards. The kind of photography cameras, DSLRs.
Yeah.
Back then, everyone had the DV cams, remember?
Yeah,
and everyone had those
yeah.
cameras, and that's like, you're official if you got those. But I rocked up with this, the Canon 5D Mark II, which was a revolutionary camera because the quality that you got out of that, because you're filming through photography lenses, right? But the quality was insane, right?
Yeah,
so I was filming it, everyone was like, "Raw, look at that, that looks sick." So I started making music videos, doing weddings, I was hustling, right? Like, and then part one of those things was People Just Nothing. I had a YouTube channel. And then, we started filming these little sketches, but like very sporadically. Like our output was fucking ridiculous. It was like 4 webisodes in like 3 years.
Yeah.
No, but that's kind of because we were just fucking around. And like we filmed it, and then it was like a year later, I was like, "Should I edit this?" So it wasn't a thing of like, So then nothing really happened until we were like 25, 26. 26 was when we got the pilot commissioned. So that, I mean, that's quite a late bloomer.
Yeah, of
for,
course.
and then, but I was kind of grateful in that way because before that, we lived a lot of real life. So when whatever comes to you, success, fame, money, we already were kind of, reaching our 30s. And we kind of experienced that success a bit later on, which I think grounded us a little bit.
Yeah.
And it keeps you a bit more rooted in reality. You know what I mean? So yeah, it wasn't, when people see us on TV and that, they think, like, bruv, even you, man, like, you know what I mean? When you got your own show, the work you did before all of that, like,
respect, man.
it was
Thanks,
graft.
bro.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I always think the cream rises to the top, man. But it's like, people don't always see that. They just see the cream at the top. They don't see all the shit that you had to go through. So, it was a long journey, man. But I think it's better that way. You kind of appreciate it when you do achieve something at the end of it.
And I think as well, it makes you. I've always found anyway. Like once I got older, I'm in a place where I kind of know where I want to go at this age. Like for me, even like getting my show a bit like 29, 30 and stuff. I'm like, cool, I've got this idea and that idea and that idea. And who I was mentally when I was 19, 20, I wasn't that person. Do you know what I mean? If you would have given me a bit of money and a little bit of success at 20, oh my God, I'd be a fucking crackhead or something, bro. I swear to you. Because it's like, look, I guess it's different because when we were 20, we didn't have social media how it is now.
Yeah.
But when I see young people now and they're hugely successful at an early age, and I'm like, raw, you've got everything.
Yeah.
You ain't even been to the rave and really moved to girls yet.
Nah.
Like, because obviously everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
And
you ain't been called Butters yet.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Rejected by a girl because you're...
It's all of those things. It's all of those like...
It's character building.
Like even small things of like going out raving this time of year, let's say like July, and the club finishes at 4, 5 a.m. Going on a night bus home.
Yeah.
And it's still bright.
Yeah.
Is like, why? Why are we out so late?
Yeah.
But almost it felt like, but I can't go sleep.
Yeah.
And I know it's different for a different generation. There's some young people that watch this and they're like, the clubs you went to are closed down now.
Yeah.
But I think there's things that give you levels without feeling like you must skip them. And I think having success and fame and money early on lets you skip a lot of stuff that you wasn't able to do.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Being in a car with 5 of your friends,
yeah,
and like your friends got the small car and everyone's fighting just to be like, where are you? I'm shotgun.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't sitting in the front. I ain't sitting in the middle. Like,
you can never look cool with 5 man in a car.
No
as well,
way.
The one at the back and the
door.
middle.
In a
Peak.
3-door.
Bro.
But now knowing that like, you can be young enough and 20 enough and be like, nah, I'll just go over an Uber until I drive.
Yeah.
I'm like, what, you got money like that?
Bro, the fact that we didn't have Uber growing up, like it used to be a Skycabs thing now and again when you were really struggling.
Yeah.
Night bus. I remember I had a vague memory. I don't know if I've made this up or not, but did night buses back in the day have a blue light? Because I remember some late night raving and coming back and there was a night bus. It might have been the N9 or N11 from like Tottenham Court Road back to like Ealing. And it used to have a blue light.
Do you know what it is? I don't think it was a blue light.
I was just stoned.
But no, what I think it was so late that like, like...
that blue haze in the morning.
Yeah,
right,
I just also feel like if you got on a bus maybe at like 10 o'clock, because you had all the other street lights that might have made the bus feel brighter. But I think a night bus, you're in the middle, because you remember it will go on other routes.
Yeah.
People forget that the night bus goes on
routes. It's long. The night bus
like,
is long. And you can die. You can die on that night bus.
Yeah.
Like you're risking your life when you go on a night bus. Back in the day. Maybe not now, but back in the day.
Yeah. You be on that night bus like, I'm sitting right at the front with the driver,
Yeah.
Upstairs at the back. Are you barbaric?
Nah.
Where did the idea of Chabuddy G come into it? Like, was that just like a character that you just knew it was like a family member?
Yeah.
Because it's such an iconic character. Like, I think in British comedy, and you do it so effortlessly, like to the point where I guess you must have people that just come up to you. And I think you've said it to me before, where they'll just say a phrase and you're like, bro, like, What's going on, man?
I remember that was on. Yeah, I was on your show.
Yeah.
That was a mad show. Do you remember that? It was
Oh, it was
me,
crazy,
you,
man.
Tyson Fury,
Yeah.
Steve Coogan,
And I didn't know you was such a big boxing fan.
Jesse J.
Yeah.
Do you remember that was a mad show?
But I didn't know you was a big boxing fan as well.
Yeah. I love boxing.
Yeah, man.
That's why seeing Tyson Fury that day was mad. I remember I said something like, I think Tyson would bang AJ. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And then Tyson was like, Asim, my boy. I weirdly still think that. Even though now you probably think AJ would do Tyson. I still think Tyson's got his number. I hope they fight one day. It would be amazing. I mean, look, Chabuddy G I would say he was a mix. He's probably like 60, 70% my dad, right? Because my dad is like the old school Hounslow hustler, right? Like the most like loveliest man you will meet, charismatic, so funny, unintentionally, you know what I mean? And just an eternal optimist. My dad's always coming up with new businesses. My dad, did have an internet cafe growing up.
Yeah.
He used to work in a porter cabin, but it's also a mixture of so many like Hounslow boys I grew up with and Hounslow uncles. It's that kind of like, it's that street hustler who's the eternal optimist, but kind of like got that level of delusion as well about him. But basically, I always see it as like, everyone knows a Chabuddy, right? Yeah. And he's not, even though him being a Pakistani British immigrant, it's funny. The accent is funny. We know that, but it's not really what makes him funny. It's like, it's that delusion. It's, the Del Boy kind of character thing that he's got. And I think like Chabuddy could be any race really. It's not really about that. You could have an African Chabuddy, a Chinese Chabuddy. Like it doesn't really matter. And I think that's why it's kind of stood the test of time, because he's this really lovable guy. I never quite understood why he was so lovable, because he's a dodgy guy. Like he will scam your nan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, Chabuddy, I love Chabuddy. But I guess it's because I've taken all the best bits from my dad and then mixed some dodgy stuff from my friends. And then you come up with this kind of, because also my dad doesn't really speak like Chabuddy. My dad's a bit more of a conventional Pakistani. He's kind of like, oh, hello, man. He's a bit more like an up, all this. And he says some amazing stuff as well. But like he used to say, he gets phrases wrong. You know what it's like with immigrant parents, right? And he would always say like, instead of the eat your heart out, he used to be like, check this card out, man. Eat your ass out. And for years he would say, eat your ass out. And I used to be like, Dad, what are you saying? And I had to correct him. And he's been probably saying that for 30, 40 years, So Chabuddy's a bit more of a mix of the accent specifically as well. It's a very Hounslow accent, because it's like in Hounslow, obviously it's a very Asian area, but we've everyone. We have Jamaicans, we have geezers. So actually Chabuddy's accent is a little bit like, he throws in a bit of geezer, he throws in a bit of roadman, he throws in a little bit of Jamaican, then he's still got the Asian slang. So in one sentence, he could say three things. He could be like, oh, Bombakla, you bloody dickhead, panchod. You know what I mean? He's like, all right, geezer. And it's like, you've said geezer, Bombakla, wagwan, like, but that's how people chat there. They take little bits and bobs, because we're all working class. Yeah. So you grow up with the geezers.
From each other.
Of course it is. So it's and that's what I remember I said that on your show. I was like, it's such a regionally specific accent. Like, if someone says do an Indian accent, of course you can do a very, like a poo, you can do that accent. But let's be real, there's many, many different types of Indian, Pakistani accents from all over the place. Like I was speaking to you about Bradford earlier. I mean, that's a whole other accent. The Pakistani Bradford, you're like, what the fuck? Where did that come from? So there's so many nuances. And I think in comedy, and especially character comedy, for me, details is everything, So it's like, how does a character speak? How do they talk? It's about a level of respect you give to the character. And that's why when I said that on your show, I was like, when someone comes up to me and does like a kind of just a racist accent, I'm not gonna call them out. I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, like, oh, let it slide, whatever. But I do get some people come up to me who could do some fucking sick Chabuddy accents. And that shows a level of care, level of deep research. And that's how every accent is. You listen, you learn, and that shows care. You're not just doing it on a basic level,
Yeah, and I guess you're not making is that you're laughing with the accent.
There's an appreciation. You can never be mad at an accent done well. I don't care what ethnicity it is. That's why, like everyone could do a bad Italian accent and it's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when you do a bad Indian accent, it's, oh my God.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. They should both be like, kind of not offensive. I don't want to be like this, woke, everything's triggering me, because we're not from that generation. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you have to be real. It just shows they don't really give a shit and they see you as a bit of a caricature. Let's be real about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I think, look, it's the same, innit? Like sometimes I'll say, I think I left a comment on something today and I said, something, man, them. Someone did a comment. It was like, come on, mate, grow up. using words like man them. I'm like, bro, I actually use this word. I actually.
What do you say now? They, them.
But
They,
like,
them.
But you know, it's like people getting at me. I'm like,
Cool.
I can't even be offended at this or get angry.
No.
I'm like, no. I actually use this word. It's not even a word for me. We're just like, well, you said me in the man them or going shops. It's like, but then I think for you, it's a new thing for you because I know for that person and their friend, it's like, oh yeah, me and fucking man them, mate. Fucking all right, I'm fucking douche, ain't fucking man them, you fucking all right, cuz I'm like, yes, it's like it's not
an intention.
I can't even get upset about it.
But you know what I mean? You see, I think our generation is like I always think we're like kind of not the forgotten generation. I wouldn't say that, but I think like 80s, born in 80s, 90s babies, right? That generation I'm talking about. We're like a little bit of a guinea pig generation.
Oh yeah.
Because we know what the world was like before the internet. We know it. That was our childhood, right? And we lived real life. But we also literally grew up with the internet, like the birth of the internet, dial-up and all that. So we know all those MSN and MySpace and then we grew with it. So we're not dinosaurs. We know social media probably better than most of these youths, really, because we saw the beginning of it, you know?
Yeah, but also we've seen like how the Facebook page changed.
Of course.
Like, you know, like when they would introduce something and you're like, bro, I remember when it looked like this.
Yeah.
And now it looks like this.
Yeah.
To the point where people would be like, no, why have you changed the layout? Like, where people didn't even know that was a thing.
Nah.
Like, where they just used to try new stuff. Like, I remember when Facebook introduced the like button and people was like, you can like something.
Remember the poke button?
Hey,
come on, cuzzy. And you get a poke from a ting. Well, she pokes you, yeah? But she's on you, cuz. She's
the
on.
Poke.
Well, poke her back, poke her back.
Yes.
Now you would get cancelled for a poke.
Yeah, hey, can't be poking
Sorry,
people.
did you consent me before that poke? But you know, but here's the thing though. So yes, we're that generation, right? So I think we're very well versed, but we're also like we kind of get the flack for both generations too, as well, because the older generation before us, they'll go, oh, you don't know shit about the real world and you're all on the internet. And then the younger generation will be like, oh, look at Uncle thinks he knows how to do TikTok. So we're like, hold on a minute, fuck you both.
Yeah.
Because we know both, right? And we have to live with both of your shits, right? But it's also woke culture, right? Like, I'm a liberal man, right? Okay, and I don't get offended by much. I'll be honest with you. Right? I don't like. I love my comedy. I've always liked, you know, Dave Chappelle and Eastbound and Down and The Office. You know, comedy that, you know, with risk. And they might say some stuff and you'd be like, ooh, but never for me. But I think we're also that generation where like we don't like the PC stuff. But we also don't think that you can just say anything and be a fucking racist prick. It's all about intention. And I remember growing up with my white mates, my black mates, some of the shit we used to say to each other in a friendly way. It was mental if you think about it, you know what I mean? But for me, I was never offended. They were never offended. And we were friends.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have that now. So I think we're also from that generation where like the generation above us think nothing's offensive and I should be able to say whatever I want, do any accent, say any racial slur. And then the generation below us are like, oh my God, you know, like how dare you? So we're a little bit, I don't want to say invisible because I think we're a very important generation, our generation. We're the kind of link between the old and the new, right? Yeah. But we are a little bit of the guinea pig generation. So it's like, where do we fit in really? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Do you know what I like weirdly? Like when I speak to any of the elders, like any of the older uncles, aunties, I'm so intrigued because it feels like they got to do all the stuff that's like, I was like, right, what was it like going out in the 80s or like really like, because now I'm an adult. It's less of like, oh, what was it like hearing Thriller for the first time? And now I'm like, so what, were you lot all doing cocaine? Like, was that really going on? Like, were you lot all doing crack? Because when I watched the films, everyone was doing that. But also knowing that, like, you know, when I look at that generation and you're like, right, you man really could go somewhere if you had money then anyway. Like, you lot could really just go to the bank and technically just buy a house. Yeah. And I sit there and I'm like, rah, do you know how mad that is? And some of you lot didn't do this.
But see, that's the other mad thing as well. Even the financial guinea pig shit is on us. Because we, like you said, the older lot could have, I remember my dad bought my first house was something like 40 grand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the property boom happened and they made bare money off it, you know? This younger generation, obviously, a bit fucked as well.
Yeah.
But
Feel
we're
for
from
them,
that
man.
generation as well. Like we're again the guinea pig one. Let's trial it out with these guys. You know, that none of them are gonna be able to afford their own home, and let's raise the mortgage on us because we're at that age where you want to be buying. And that younger generation are just looking at us, being like, I mean, I feel sorry for them as well in terms of like buying and stuff because they're kind of fucked as well. But it does feel like we're that generation, and I don't know. I'm not trying to be like, oh, poor, because I love being this era.
Yeah.
Like I think, and I know everyone says this about the generation, but like I love being a kid in the 90s, and I loved being a teenager in the noughties. Like noughties is underrated, you know.
No, the noughties is underrated.
Like being a teenager,
the noughties is underrated,
and like the
boy.
birth of like garage and grime and like, you know, early hip hop stuff. And that, I mean, the 2000s hip hop era was unbelievable as well. Like I know 90s was a bit more raw and like that, but 2000s when they started getting a bit blingy and, you know what I mean?
A bit
like
more experimental. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird you say that because I was listening to Ludacris's album Word of Mouth the other day in the car. And I was like,
bro, Luda's underrated.
Yeah,
man.
but you know when you listen to it, because really the way I started listening to the album again, he was on an interview on one podcast, and I was like, right, let me listen to this. And I was like, because that was the first album that I bought with my own money.
Right.
Because everything else I'd either borrow from my sister or whatever.
Yeah.
But I actually bought that with my own money when I was in probably year 7 or year 8.
HMV thing.
Yeah. But you know, like when you listen to certain music and you're like, rah, like, I really forgot about skits. Do you remember skits? Like
skits. Reading the album cover as well. Remember going there and having a look. The lyrics used to be on there sometimes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that we were the last generation of the physical media. You know, like I mean, even like blockbusters, right? I remember like me and my boy every Friday we used to link up and we used to just get stoned, play PlayStation. Remember, we used to go Blockbuster and we used to do this thing where we would just blind pick a foreign movie. We're going to foreign section. It was a tiny little section, and we just blind picked this film, and it was just this. We just saw the picture, and it was a boy pointing a gun. City of God, bro. Went home, randomly just watched City of God.
Yeah.
Imagine that. As a 15-year-old boy watching City of God stoned out your mind, not knowing about anything. And thinking, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. That would never happen now.
No, because now it's like someone tells you of a film.
Of course.
And you got to watch the film and you watch it. And whereas I know what you mean, like you might just like, you just get the film and you're like, this is a
just give it a
film.
go.
And then you meet someone who's seen the film. He's like, you've seen it? Hey, I've seen it too.
Yeah.
And I had that recently with someone where we were talking about films. And I was like, has any of you not seen a film called Kids? And someone else was
classic.
like, Kids? I've seen Kids. But like, you know, like that's if you're like if you're into films.
Yeah. But that's a real classic, like VHS one from back in the day, where you'd watch at a house party, and you'd be like, "Bro, this could happen," you know. Like it was a great film,
yeah, man,
very underrated.
Speaking of films, though, you guys done a film. You went to Japan,
yeah.
What even was that like? Because I've been to Japan, right? It's my favorite place ever.
Beautiful.
And the reason, and it's weird because like now I know Japan is like a trending place. Everyone said you got to go there and stuff, and I feel like it always has, but I think now you see it more on social media, people going to Japan. But what was it like filming a film in Japan?
You know what, bruv? Like, it sounds great, and it was great. But the reality of it is that, listen, People Just Do Nothing was a low-budget BBC sitcom, BBC Three sitcom, right?
Yeah.
So it never made any of us millionaires, right? We did it. It was a pure labor of love. Best thing I've ever made. Best thing I'll ever do. You know, made with my boys. And it was made with Focus Films. BBC Films are Focus Films. And actually, it's on record as Focus Films' lowest budget film of all time. Bro, it was like, we made it on a shoestring. And our director, Jack, who I saw today, actually, he's a great director. You know, the way he made that look amazing. But it was intense, bro. 6-day weeks, like... And, you know, a lot of guerrilla style filming, you know, didn't get too much permission for a lot of the stuff.
That's what I was thinking. In Japan, you can't film out there. But
it was incredible. They allow you if you just do guerrilla style. Oh, you know, because the permits are long. But like on the streets, we were just filming basically, just trying to, and it's so busy. But it was unbelievable. I mean, it's like, you know, like I said, I go back from that, you know, doing those prank calls, calling up, brothels to being in Japan after 5 series, BAFTAs, and now you're filming a film in Japan with your boys. It's like it's mental, but it's still niche for me. Like it's still not like that film. But we made that film right before COVID, right? Then we got back from Japan, COVID hit. The movie was done, but we couldn't release it because the cinemas were shut. So that movie was sitting in the can for like nearly 2 years. And then when it came
Fucking
out
hell.
slowly, like, you know, we made our money back. It got good reviews. But like with People Just Nothing, it's never been a thing of like in-betweeners. It's always been like that cult classic.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
if you fuck with People Just Nothing, you really fuck with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I kind of like that. I always like that kind of niche cult status we have because I think it feels special. You know, when something gets too blown up, like, you know, an artist, when you find an artist and you're like, oh, this guy's sick. And then he blows up and you're like, it doesn't feel like special anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think we've somehow always managed to keep that kind of niche level, which I think it feels nice.
Yeah.
You know?
How do you find it as well when you've kind of separated yourself as well and you do your own stuff, like especially with acting as well, like you're really in your acting bag and showing, you know, your range as well, because, you know, I say to anyone who does like a character, what you don't realize is what goes into the character. And you can be so, what's the word? Like the attention to detail, like you're saying, like even for like, let's say for like Chabuddy G, where you're like, has to be these type of trousers, has to be these shoes.
Yeah.
This is how, like, I don't know how you are in terms of whether you go like full method or whatever, but you know, when you have an idea and you're like, I need this specific thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not going to work for the character. How has it been transitioning now when you're acting and you're working alongside other actors and it's a scene, like, you know, Sandman or whatever, do you know what I mean? How do you find it now?
You know what? It's I'm definitely not method actor. Like I'm not one of them guys who's like needs to be in character.
You're a bad
for the
boy
whole
actor
day.
though, bruv.
Thank you, bro. You
No,
know,
you're
I
fucking
think
cold, man.
But you know what? I think it's like I think as performers, because really, you know, we could say we're comedians, we're creatives, we're writers, but deep down, you know what I think what we are is when I was a little boy, I remember I used to put on performances for my family, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, go on then, and I'll be doing, you know, Michael Jackson, and they'll be like, fucking, what is wrong with this kid? But and I'll do it for the whole family. Like, I know, because I was ignored for most of my childhood. So I would do anything for attention. You know, my sister was like the kind of golden girl. So they were like, what's this little fat shit? What does he want? All right, go on, do your fucking song. I'm talking to the man. And they'll be like, so I think back and I go, like, I've always been a performer, you know? you know that little annoying fat kid. That was me. Right. So they're like, you know, God, go on then. So like thinking back about it, like we're still those performers now. So like acting, comedy, music, whatever art form it is, you're basically performing, right? It's a performance. So that's the same thing with if I'm on set on like whatever it is, Marvel or Sandman or, you know, People Just Nothing. Whatever the set is, I'm performing and I want to make people happy. Or I want to make my boy laugh. I want to make him crack up. I want him to ruin the scene. Or I want to get a reaction from this person. And of course, if you look at it deep rooted, you want to be validated.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there's an insecurity there for all comedians, all performers. Like, we want to be loved. And I think the fact that I was ignored quite a lot when I was a kid, you know what I mean? Because I was that annoying little fat kid, and I was messing around a lot, and I was, you know, but actually that kind of made, and I was left alone for a long time, you know? So like, even when I was, like I was saying, when I was doing People Just Nothing on my camera and doing music videos and all that, my mum would be like, you're a waste, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, get a job. Like, you know, because she wanted some rent money now. Because I'm not a little you now. I'm 22, 23. And I was like, you little bum, get up, get a job. And I get that from her. But all of the stuff I used to do, whether it was music or People Just Nothing or comedy or whatever it was seen as annoyance. It was seen as you're messing around.
Yeah.
And I could see that because I was some pothead who wasn't doing anything, you know, not making enough money, not contributing. But that element of like performing and wanting to have, and then, you know, when we did make it, I remember at the premiere for People Just Nothing Big in Japan, I remember it was quite a beautiful moment for me. It was one of the best days of my life, actually, because my mum and dad are divorced, right? So like, you know, for years and years, and they're remarried and different kids and all that. And, you know, like a lot of families, my family's quite broken. You know, you have issues and, you know, people stop talking and all that. But I remember for that moment, and like, you know, some of my cousins don't speak to some of their cousins, and my dad doesn't speak to this person. Quite fractured, right? Like every family has problems. But I remember on that day in the premiere, we had a big premiere in Leicester Square, Cineworld, and it was just for friends and family. It wasn't because it was COVID time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember everyone was there. My mum, my dad, my uncle, my cousins, people who haven't spoken for years, my mum, you know, and everyone was there. And it was one of the proudest moments. I remember I was there with my agent, right? And she was there with my mum and my dad, which felt so weird because I was like, these lot hate each other. They don't fucking chat, right? And then my mum and dad, and then Debbie, with my agent, was going, so what was he like? Was he doing this kind of stuff when he was a kid? And then my mum was like, yeah. She was like, we always knew. I was like, you always knew? I was like, you're not calling me the little fat shit, go to your room. You know, but they didn't though. That's what I'm saying. But of course, parents always try and claim it.
Yeah.
But weirdly enough, that being left alone spurred me on to just be my own creative self and go and do stuff and not have the pressure of being successful because they thought I was a waste man. You know, so then when I did media studies, they thought that was waste too. They were like, media studies? Back then as well, you think that's a DOS. And it was. But actually not until later on, until like, you know, even when the pilot the only time my dad really thought I made it was when I got that special Nando's card. Then then it was like, he was like, my son, let's go to Nando's. And he would fucking rinse it.
Really?
But once we were in Hounslow, and I remember, like, we don't have it anymore. We had it for like a long time. And, you know, they can't keep giving it, you know what I mean? But we don't have it anymore.
And we can't confirm nor deny the card.
If it exists. I got the Wingstop one though. Never use it. But I remember my dad, we were in the Hounslow Nando's, and my dad rinsed it so bad, like $3 bill. Right? And I remember I got an email from them the next day being like, hey Asim, we love that you're using the card. And just like being like, but we would like to remind you of the limits and all that. And I was like,
really?
Oh my God. But that's when my dad was like, my son has met. And my parents are very proud, don't get me wrong. Like they're very, very proud, but it didn't come, they didn't know from back in the day. They like to pretend they did. But like going back to that performing thing, that's what I think I've always had. And I think that's what I meet a lot of performers, comedians, actors, writers. We want to perform and we want to make people happy and we want to express ourselves. I think it's like, like when you don't always have that attention, you have a lot of stuff inside you where you're like, I want to express this and show you this idea I've got and this performance I want to do. You want to make people happy. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. And now you're in a beautiful place, like where you are, you know, your dad as well.
Yeah.
Like, how do you start to like look at your career and what you want to pan out? You know, is it change the way that you think of the stuff you want to create, the time you put into work, and then I guess like just not working as well? Yeah. That starts to like it's like you're saying when you start thinking of your health and everything. I was in the same place where I was just like, oh, right, like I now have to work out for survival rather than just for vibes and image. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to.
Then you did a fried chicken documentary.
I know, that's what I
fried
mean,
chicken
bro.
for a month.
Yeah, man.
Mad.
But it's mad.
I can't
like,
wait to see that.
Because my son, he's like 2.5, and he's
wow.
you know, he's in the park, he's running, and I'm like, I got to keep up with him, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To make sure he's like, okay, cool, goes on the slide. I want to be able to pick him up. Do you know what I mean? I do this thing where I get him and I pick him up and I throw him up, and he's like, and I'm like, I love the fact that I can do it because I'm fit and healthy, and I need to let that continue. Do you know what I mean? And keep up with my kids and stuff. But where's that for you?
Well, I think, and you'll relate to this. I think there's two lives, right? There was the life you had before the baby came, and literally overnight, when you see this little miracle, and you're holding him, and you're going, wow, like, you used to live in my nuts, man. Like, that's mad. Because he looks just like me as well. And I'm like, this is mental, bruv. Like, and I'm looking and I'm like, his whole life is dependent on me being a good person now. And me being around and me being healthy, looking after myself, looking after him, looking after his mum, looking after, you know, everything that I struggled with, or my parents struggled with, having a steady home, financial security, you know what I mean? All that stuff. Something I never had. Yeah. I want to give this to him. So now, like, my son's he's nearly 3 months. So very early, I'm talking like I'm some fucking experienced dad. You know what I mean? Like, you'll know more than me. But like, life just changed overnight, bro. And it motivated me to a mad point. For the first month and a half I was at home, I sacked everything off. I remember I was doing a show with Dyer, actually. And I was going to go on to do this other reality show. And I remember it was very close to my wife's pregnancy date. And Danny Dyer was like, fuck that show off, mate. He was like, be there for your kid. That's more important. You'll make that money. And no, I fucking love Danny. But because he had a kid when he was 18. Yeah, and he's like, you've done it fucking right, mate. He goes, I had my baby when I was 18. He's like, fucked it. He's like, now you've done it though. You've lived your life, been with your missus 10 years, you know, now you're having your baby. You've done it the right way. And it was actually just amazing because, like, he's a G. Danny Dyer is, all the stories you hear about him, everyone says he's a legend. He's a fucking
I
lovely
got a
man.
lot of time for Danny.
Very funny guy.
Yeah, they tried to stitch me up on TV with him one time.
Oh, what?
It's when I first on TV.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Oh, Mo, are you a big fan of Danny Dyer?" I was like, "Yeah, man. Grew up watching things like Football Factory and that."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, what about this tweet then?" And it was on tweet from like years ago. And I was like, Danny Dyer is a terrible actor.
No.
Right next to him. And I'm like, "Rah, like, why did you
On whose show? On what
Jonathan
show?
Ross show as well, innit?" I said, "Oh, Ross, man, why did you do this, man?" I think it was only it was my first time on the show, maybe my second time, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Had a nice little grey suit as well. So, you know, you feel a bit like...
Why'd they stitch you up like that?
Yeah, I said, come on, Ross, man. But then, luckily, the way I brought it back, I was like, nah, but what it is, Danny, sometimes when you're in EastEnders, someone's dying, and you're like, don't you fucking die, man. I have to do my nutting, mate. And he laughed, and it just kind of, he was like, yeah, you know what, bruv, like,
yeah.
fair enough, innit?
No, but also I love his resurgence. Like he did EastEnders and he didn't have a good time on that, and he would probably admit that his performances weren't what he wanted to be. He's come back, man's come back, won a BAFTA. I mean, he's a national. He's a real treasure, man.
No, I seen him.
But that was a bit.
Oh
cheeky.
yeah.
They stitched you up there.
I got a lot of time for Ross, man. But at the same time, you know, when you quickly learn about this industry,
they know what they're doing.
I was like, oh, rah, yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, I'm so glad I'm able to be quick in that moment.
Of course.
And because he took it well.
Yeah.
And I think if it was like a proper, like, seasoned actor, would have been the most awkward interview ever. But Danny, he took it on the chin. And it's funny, I seen him at the NME Awards, gave out an award. I said, oh, what are you saying, Dan, man? You're right. Because he was hosting it. So he's like, yeah, mate, not too bad. I said, this is a good gig, isn't it, hosting this? He's like, listen, Mo, I'm not doing it for the fucking love, bruv. I was like, oh, all right.
No,
fair enough, man.
He's a legend.
But
but he gave me some great advice about just fatherhood. And obviously it was a really pivotal moment because I was worried, obviously, you're like, when's baby coming? And I was on this big show and it was stressful. And he and Omid Jalili, I remember, was on that show. They were giving me some great advice. And it's like, you know, even though they're only like, 10, 15 years older than us, but I see them as our OGs as well.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing about our generation as well. We really listen to our elders. I'm not saying he's our elders. I'm not trying to age him.
But
like
they've done the time,
They've done the time, bro. Like Omid Jalili's been around from back in the day when I did
Man was in the Mummy, you know.
Bro, Omid Jalili's a legend, man. I love him, man. He's my brother. And then it's like, even when I'm working with Sanjeev Bhaskar, he's playing my brother in Sandman. I'm thinking, bro, I used to VHS record Goodness Gracious Me every week. And now I'm working with this man. So when I'm with these, man, I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
I'm picking their brain. I'm asking the questions, you know what I mean? Because we are that, like I said, I go back to that generation. We are that generation that's a little bit in the middle. So like, but we always show respect to our elders. You know, it's like, even if you think of hip hop, like our MCs, they all paid homage to the MCs that came before them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was never, now with these new artists, they don't give a fuck about the history. You know what I mean? They don't. They're like on their new shit. They're like, oh, that's some fucking boom bap uncle shit. Be like, no, but listen, do your research, because if it wasn't for these, man, you lot wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, going back to my son, it's, yeah, bro, life just changed, man, in the best way. The first few months, obviously, you're in the trenches, no sleep. But man, everything I do now is for him. Like I just look at him and I think everything is for you. So love it, bro. Love it, man. It's a great blessing.
Man, I really appreciate you coming on.
No,
man.
thank you, bro.
It's been such a pleasure, man. And I feel like this is like, one, it's like well overdue, because every time I've kind of seen you, it's always been like briefly. But it's all, you know what I mean? Like a show, quick passing. What's going on, Red?
Or like even on your show,
you know
even if it was on nasty shows, it would be always some mad.
It's always some guy.
I can't remember. I told one of the worst jokes on, can't remember. I mean, it might have been Nasty Show or Your Show. I can't remember because I did it a few times.
Yeah.
But I remember I did a joke to Pamela Anderson as Chabuddy.
Yeah, Nasty. Yeah, I think that was a Nasty
Nasty
show. Yeah,
and I said to her, I went, bam. I went, oh my God, you're so fit. I love you. I was like, actually, funny story, actually. I was watching you. I was going to have a wank. And I was watching Baywatch and that. And I was wanking. Last screen, David Hasselhoff came on the screen. So I actually climaxed to the Hoff. And she went, okay. And I was like, oh, like, I felt sick, because she didn't know I was in character. And she's like, why is this man talking about me wanking? And it felt horrible. And the joke did not land at all. Do you remember? It was horrible. And I was like, oh, man. But I love how chaotic the Nasty Show was. Your show was much more like, you know, you found your rhythm and you're a true pro.
Yeah, it was chaos,
but there was something chaotic about the Nasty Show that I kind of loved as well.
Bro, it was chaotic, man. It was a totally different show to mine. But like, you know what's really funny about that episode is that Pam, like, bless her, she didn't have a clue what the show was about. But saying that, a lot of other people didn't.
Right.
Because really and truly, like, you either know Nasty's world, like if you come and you're like, well, I know Nasty, I know Mo, I know the vibes of where this is gonna go.
Or you don't.
Or you just have no idea. And some of the people who had no idea would jump on board very quickly.
Yeah.
So like Lou Farou, one of the best guests, he started eating CBD gummies
I remember that.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Jumped on board, but it's Louis, innit? He can adapt to anything.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I remember we had David Schwimmer on, for example, and Gigs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like two combos of two completely different people. And like he ended up in the end. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what he said. Man, I used to watch you in jail still. It's just like that's what I used to love about the show. But like everyone would come on, bring whatever they've got going on and stuff. So I knew I had to separate my show completely to what his was.
Yeah.
And plus I had a different vision for mine.
You did, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I like wearing a suit, like the band there and whatnot and stuff.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Yeah, and thank you, bro. You remember you done the first ever show, you know?
I know, bro.
Do you know that, bro?
Yeah, of course,
first
man.
ever show. I'll never
that was
forget
that was the Tyson Fury one, isn't it?
No. Yeah, so me, you, Tyson Fury,
Coogan.
Steve Coogan and Jesse J.
Yeah, I remember.
First
Great
one,
show.
I was so fucking nervous, bro.
No, bro, congrats,
thank
man.
you so
and
much,
like
man.
the documentary, bro.
Oh, thank you,
I'm
bro.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, thank you, bro.
I'm really, as a fried chicken connoisseur.
I'll show you the trailer now for it still.
Yeah,
man.
Cool.
But love for coming on, my friend.
Thank
And this
you,
has been your beginning, middle, and end. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, bro.
my brother.
Thank you, bro.
God bless you, man.
Hey, what's up, people? My name is Mo Gilligan. I just want to thank you so much for listening and watching my podcast. Now, a lot goes into making this podcast, as you can imagine. I might be the person that's in front of the screen, but it's really about the people that are behind the cameras. And what I'd really appreciate, what you could do for them is, one, give this a like. That would be great. Hype it up. That would be amazing. But most importantly, if you could subscribe, if you could just hit that little bit just there and subscribe. The reason why that helps is it helps us build a community, what people like, what they want to see more of. And most importantly, it gets these podcasts straight to you. So you don't even have to look for them anymore. And how cool is that? Now, listen, if you do want to watch any other episodes, you can check out this episode down here and this episode just down here. My name's Mo Gilligan. Take care. Peace.